So now that we've seen how to write Python, we are going to have a look at how to use Python project from other people and how you can create your own project. So first, let's create a directory which is called Python project or just project. And inside this directory, you're going to find all the elements that are related to your project. So you're going to find, of course, the documentation or the presentation of your project, which is going to be a README. And the README is mandatory. You're going to find a requirements.txt, which is a text file we're going to detail a bit. And we're going to find your own Python project, which is in its own folder. Usually it has the same name as the project, and we're going to call it my project. And that's its own folder. Now, a Python project is composed of modules, and here my project is going to become a Python modules. Now, modules are really just folders, but for Python to be able to see these folders and recognize them as modules, you need a special file. So this is a file, very important. You need a file called inits __.py. It has the same name as the constructor from the classes we've seen before, except this is a file. Now you can put anything you want inside the file. You can leave it empty if you want. The important thing is that this file exists. And now your My Project folder has become a Python module. And you can actually have other files inside this module. So you can have My Project, you can have a component which can be called component1, component1.py, for example. And inside this component1.py, you can actually define a class. So let's say we are now in component1.py. We can actually define a class, let's say C1, and we can define things as we want. Now, in Python, you have noticed you are going to be able to import modules using the import keyword. And this keyword is very important. And the import keyword is actually relative to where your Python executable is launching from. And this is extremely important if you do not want to have import errors. You are going to launch your Python executable with a current working directory of project, not my project, but project. And then you are going to be able to import my project. So let's call it my P dot, for example, component1. So component1. And you can say from my project.component1, you can import the C1 class. So you would write that as from, let's write it my project dot component1 import, so that's the same line, import the C1 class. And notice that this line must be executed from a Python executable which is currently inside the project. Or you can also install the whole project inside your system, and then you can actually import it from anywhere in your system. But don't install projects that are under development. The installation process, you can look that up, but the installation process is going to put your project inside your Python library folder or your user library folder, and then you can import that from any Python console or any Python project you need. But you're going to install the project when the project is done. But if you want actually to test the project, you're going to need to be inside the project folder. So this is how modules work. And modules you are going to need for your project, which are required to be installed for your project, are actually going to be inside the requirements.txt. This is the way people exchange what kind of modules you are going to need for your project. So for example, if my project requires the NumPy modules or the NumPy project, inside my requirements.txt, I'm going to find a line which says NumPy. And then the pip installer is going to be able to find the NumPy on the web, on a repository. And we have a couple of exercises where you can actually install a number of libraries like NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, and etc., and kind of do something with them, especially with Matplotlib and NumPy.